There's only one thing to say. It's just beat SC.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Locked On UCLA podcast. I'm your host, Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. Thanks for making this your first listening to every day. It's free. We'll get your podcast ads available on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. It is the rivalry week. It's time to beat SC. How can the Bruins do that? I'm going to tell you again on this episode. And what's my prediction? Am I crazy? When was the last time it rained between these two teams? All that and more here on this episode, which is brought to you by Prize Pick. What's my prize pick today? Well, we'll tell you later. But today's episode brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use the code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Daily fantasy sports made easy. This game is easy to the eye. Who knows? It's going to be a crazy game. It's going to be a dumb, fun college football game that, unfortunately, will mean a lot less across the country than it's going to mean to us in Los Angeles. And it might have ripple effects that we do not know after the game. Is this the last game for Chip Kelly? Win or lose? I don't know. Is this the last game for Caleb Williams on the other side? Possibly, probably, who knows? Is this going to mean extensions, raises for like a Danton Lynn? And up and leaving for a Lincoln Riley if you really want to get crazy. This could be the last game for all these guys on their respective staffs or on the roster or whatever, right? There's so many weird storylines that we just don't know. The only one confirmed, not really confirmed, the one that's been reported, that is the most viable in my mind, is that Chip Kelly's UCLA tenure is coming to an end. Is it coming to an end after the USC game? What if they win? Is it coming after the Cal game? Well, how does that process work? Or does some crazy world, does the Bruins athletic department change their mind? I don't know. But whatever it is, end off with a bang, because this is our keys to win for UCLA football against USC. The ugly versus the ugly, the UCLA offense so far this year against the absolutely brutally, terribly, horribly, god-awful USC defense at times this year, most of the time. And the super spectacular big giants that is the UCLA defense versus the USC offense. Is it going to be a high-scoring game? Is it going to be a Fumblerooski game? I don't know. It's a weird, rainy, I don't know. It's going to be weird. But I'm going to give my keys anyway. One, here we go. If you're watching on YouTube, you get to see all three, but here's key number one, QB protection, and you got to score 3 points. Those two things go hand in hand. QB protection and scoring points. That is the key for the offense. You must score points. You can't lay an egg. You're not going to expect UCLA's defense to keep them under 10, under 20. I think that's kind of ridiculous to ask. The defense can put up a great game plan. They can get fired up. They can have the greatest most outstanding game to boot. And with the rain, that can make it even more in favor of UCLA, who runs the ball and prides himself on forcing turnovers. All that makes sense. I just think realistically heading in that you have to score 30 points. Maybe they fall a little short. What I actually think might be a little different, but the goal is 30 points, which for a Chip Kelly-led team, you'd think that's simple and easy considering last year's game. That's simple and easy considering what happened a couple of years ago. 30 points, easy. It's 38-35. That's the final, right? It's just a matter of who makes the right play at the right moment. No, I don't think that's how this game will go. It could very well change your minds and be very different. Protect the quarterback. I'm not entirely sure who that's going to be. If I'm going to guess, I would think with the healthier Garbers, they might go Garbers, probably. Could be more. Schlee hasn't shown anything, at least health-wise, and what the media reported at practice, that he is healthy enough or available enough to play in this game. I've been shocked before. I don't know. I thought they were going to play Dante last week. Garbers wasn't healthy enough to play quarterback, and Dante wasn't either, as Chip Kelly said, in the emergency status. So whoever the quarterback is, one, it's important to keep them upright. Give them time to throw. Maybe they go max protection. I know running the football will be imperative in this game, but there will become a time when they're not going to be able to run the football. Even if they can do it all day long, they're going to have to throw the football. And they need to protect against an all-out house blitz from the USC defense, because they're going to need to complete a pass to win this game. They can't go 0 completed passes or something superly, woefully atrocious. Yes, running the ball will be imperative for UCLA to win this game, but you've got to protect the quarterback. One, so USC can allow UCLA to run the ball, right? They're going to game plan to make sure UCLA has to beat them with their arms, which most teams can do against the Trojan defense. Despite talent all around, they've not been able to figure it out, even with the firing of Alex Grinch. Can Chip Kelly bring out the last bag of tricks he has, the craziest plays, make them work, and let's see it go all out. I'm not expecting a Josh Kelly-esque performance where he just ran right through USC when the Bruins beat him the first time in the Chip Kelly era. But I do think you've got to protect the quarterback. Absolute must. No QB protection in this game, because then you throw the ball, a mistake happens, and that is what is going to send the Coliseum into the frenzy for the worst way as a UCLA fan. You've got to score points, and you've got to protect your quarterback. Those two things have to go hand in hand, because if they do, you're going to have a lot better time scoring points, getting in the end zone, and getting to the red zone, and ending in the end zone. Number 2, contain Caleb. I think that's pretty. Let's not do that there. I guess you saw my prediction. Oops. There you go. Spoiler alert. If you're watching on YouTube, there you go. All right, here we go. If you contain Caleb, what does that mean? What does that mean? It just simply means he is going to put numbers. He's going to do all he can, literally single-handedly sometimes this year, to beat the opposition. That's what he's going to do. That is what he's going to do. And if you make sure he stays in the pocket, then it's more likely that you can get key number 3. If you let him bounce outside, if you let him run all over you, make big plays, unscripted, big-time throws, it's going to happen. It certainly will in this game, but limiting those is important. There's no other way than saying contain Caleb. That's self-explanatory. Because he can single-handedly beat you with the array of weapons he has on the outside, which leads us to number 3, forced turnovers. I know the idea that rain has been brought up in this game. That can be a significant factor, shifting the idea that UCLA might have more of an advantage despite being an underdog. Maybe not points-wise a significant underdog, but maybe in the minds of people that they might be more of an underdog than what the spread might show. About a touchdown in favor of SC right now playing at the Coliseum. The rain, hey, as I already said, Caleb Williams fumbles the ball a lot. You pick up one of those, you've got to score. Forced turnovers. Maybe the ball slips out of his fingertips once, like one of those ugly interceptions he threw against Notre Dame. It didn't rain that night. But maybe there's more likely for a mistake to happen in a bad weather game. I know it's LA and we can't fully predict when it's going to rain and all those things. You can look at the forecast and it could be a downpour or it could not, everything in between. It could change 3 times between the recording, dropping, and the actual game of the podcast from now until then. And I don't know. But with weather potentially being a factor, that could hopefully make an impact for UCLA. Even if it's not, you've got to force a turnover. What led UCLA to an early lead last year? Forcing a turnover. And that was with a much, much, much worse defense. In this one, UCLA's got a better defense. They must force a turnover because I think USC is going to get yards. The Bruins are going to have to get one of those key red zone goal line turnovers in this game to win it. That is how they're going to do it. They have to force a turnover. I just don't see a way in this game the Bruins don't force a turnover and win the game. Even if it's one, even if it's a last-ditch 4th down interception, you need a turnover to win the game. Whether it's early to kickstart the engine, late, middle of the game, something that shifts. Maybe they don't even score points. Just to stall an SC drive once or twice with some turnovers. We know they can do it. Now they've just got to go out and execute. If they can find a way to go beat their arch rivals on the road, and last time as Pac-12 conference rivals, next year, Big Ten conference rivals, when all the logos are different, but the heart of the rivalry is still the same. When was the last time it rained? I was there. One of my favorite memories of a UCLA-USC game. We'll talk about that and why it was good for UCLA next on Locked On UCLA. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America because they're the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you you, the listener, me, the speaker, against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, pros and sharks, it's more or less than 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can watch your winnings roll in. There's the Specials League where you can combine projections from football stars, basketball stars, 10.5 combos and 3-pointers, man receptions. If you want to use the big name stars in the NFL or the NBA, that is the Specials League if you want to do a double combo there. Or you can do and play against some community plays. Maybe it's a comedian like Andrew Schultz. See how you compare. Maybe it's Meek Mill, the rapper you want to compare your knowledge against, but not lose the money because of that, right? You can watch your winnings roll in, and there's an injury insurance reboot policy. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege. Use the code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Daily fantasy sports made easy. Cruising on into segment 2 of the Locked On UCLA podcast. Hey, the Bruins, when's the last time I remember a fun, rainy, entertaining football game between UCLA and USC when there's actually a lot in the line? This one, not so much, just pride and arrogance and bragging rights all the way through. UCLA against SC 2012. You remember that one? Coming up on 11 years ago when UCLA played the Trojans at the Rose Bowl. A much rainier Saturday afternoon, 12 o'clock start. It was an early afternoon start. And it was a fun day in November as the Bruins nearly sold out. It was nearly did everything perfectly in that game in terms of exciting the crowd, going up 24-0, letting SC back in the game for some crazy nonsense, and then back and forth they went in a game the Bruins never trailed at home where Jonathan Franklin did the little slasher touchdown run. Everybody went crazy. Brett Hundley completing clutch 4th down completions when the Bruins went for it, 4th and long, completed it. The early pick of Matt Barkley, the all-time iconic sack of Barkley with Anthony Barr just smacking him when Barkley did not see what was coming in a year when, hey, what was it like this year? A preseason contender for the national championship, a quarterback that's supposed to be all-world. I know Caleb Williams is, so we're not going to say too much about that because he just simply is. But a quarterback that was supposed to be all-world, and SC came in, ended up, 7-4 after the game, and really missed out on their expectations for a season they thought would be super spectacular. You bring that to this year, right? You think of the sky-high expectations in the other, an unknown this year of UCLA, and then you've potentially a freshman quarterback playing. I'm not sure. I think they might go Garbers, but limited experience at the quarterback position versus vast on the other side. Rainy game. The Bruins got out to a big early lead. That was at home, though. And they relied a lot on a running game where Jonathan Franklin had 171 yards, 2 touchdowns, a fun downpour in the middle of a November Saturday in Los Angeles, Pasadena. And the Bruins got the win 38-28, one of my all-time favorite memories. And to boot, that was, the last time it truly affected a UCLA-USC game. Now, I would love for it to do it again. I would love for in this flashback Friday moment of moments that it comes an absolute downpour and makes everything go a little crazy in the UCLA-SC game at the Coliseum. And we go partying off. Maybe the Bruins put up another 60-burger. Not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen with this year's offense. But we can dream and hope that the same result happens of this UCLA-SC game from over a decade ago when the rain, everything was fun as we enjoyed the rain fest, the rain-soaked Rose Bowl battle between the Bruins and the Trojans. That was last time it rained. 11 years ago. So many wacky, wild games since then, and that kickstarted a 3-year stretch of UCLA dominance over the Trojans. We'd like for Chip Kelly probably to end his UCLA tenure with 3 wins against USC. You got to do it by beating them in this game here. This is the chance to do it. Do it. Let's go, Chip. Don't save your bag of tricks for Cal if you even make it that far. A bowl game, he's probably not going to coach. Although crazier things have happened. Do it now. Team's got to show up. No disunity. This is the most unified you've got to be all year. This week week by week. You go week by week for the process for this game. Remember Bruins of old and do it for them. Which leads us to prediction time here on Locked On UCLA coming up next. Well, now we're going to think about our game changer of the week. It's UCLA-USC week. What can our game changer of the week, brought to you by Brewing Company, be? Well, it's who's ever going to dominate. Make that big play. The running touchdown, the rushing touchdown, the big interception late. That's what we're looking for in this UCLA-USC game. For the UCLA basketball team, a real game changer. Hey, what about a Dante Moore who made his first start, got double figures, and scored the basketball? Let's give him our game changer of the week because UCLA only had one game against Long Island. Might as well give the freshman some love, just like you should go check out the non-alcoholic beers and brews from Athletic Brewing Company because they make non-alcoholic beers that actually taste good. They beat out full-strength beers in global competition, full of flavor, well-crafted, and they're releasing limited edition experimental styles to add to their variety. Fit for all times, like the UCLA-USC game and the celebration or the lamenting thereafter, and make any activity more fun. No hangovers ever. All you have to do is go to athleticbrewing.com or find them at a store near you. You can use the code if you're a first-time customer, Locked On, at 50% off your first order. Again, that's LOCKEDON, Locked On, 15% off at athleticbrewing.com. Near beer, exclusions and conditions apply. Athletic Brewing Company, fits for all. Last segment of the Locked On UCLA podcast, the Bruins. SC. It's beat SC week. There's no more nonsense. No more Chip Kelly at Wild. Who's doing what? It doesn't matter anymore. It's out the window. That's the pen. We're flying. We're going crazy. I'm done with this nonsense. Beat them, and we worry about that later. Go out, smack them in the mouth, and have the last laugh as Pac-12 rivals, and then they come Big Ten rivals next year. Make this happen. Chip Kelly could be the guy that has a better record at the Coliseum against SC. That could be a unique thing as a UCLA head coach, winning multiple games at the Coliseum as head coach of UCLA more than he did at the Rose Bowl. And yet here he is with an opportunity to do so. Not favored. They're not favored. They're an underdog by a touchdown. And usually the Bruins have not been full underdogs this year. There's been quite a few games they've actually been favored in and not come through. Obviously, the Arizona State game ranks true. The Arizona game, closing in near the Oregon State game, they were close in that game. It was close to being a toss-up. And the Utah game somewhat was a little bit similar too. They're a full touchdown underdog on the road at SC. Maybe some weather factors come in and can help UCLA win this game more than we thought possible earlier, where it favors them running the football and a turnover, a costly turnover by either side makes the difference. I just can't in my body really think that this is going to be a high-scoring thriller. It absolutely could, and I'd love it. I don't think we'll get 48-45. I'm not even sure we'll get 38-35. It could happen, considering if USC just scores a bunch and UCLA's up for the challenge on the other side, we could get a thriller of epic proportions. I just hesitate to think that's going to happen. They will deliver. I think the drama in this game will absolutely deliver. Something funky, something super dumb, probably controversial too, because who knows, Pac-12 refs, rival on the road, maybe something very weird on national television will swing this one way or the other in what could be, as I mentioned before, last games for players, coaches, staff members before they move on to the NFL, one way or another, different programs. I don't know. But what's my prediction? Which is, we'll get a little crazy, UCLA 27, USC 24. I'm thinking and hoping the weather plays a little bit of a factor. UCLA comes together for one more game, and with this underdog chip on their shoulder mentality, they can go out and beat SC. Now, both teams are stumbling. Both teams are not playing their best football. And who's going to come out? There has to be a winner. This isn't the older days, pre-overtime, where we can just end in a tie and just say, that makes sense for both teams' season. If this game ended in a tie prior to overtime, that would be the perfect indication for how both seasons could go in one way or another. Blown lead or big expectations. UCLA, we could have won, but no. Someone's got to win. And again, I'm going UCLA 27, USC 24. crazy? Yes. Am I a little ludicrous? Possibly. Am I a little biased? Most likely. Is it off base? Is it off base? Is it weird to think the Bruins could force Caleb Williams to look as bad as he did against Arizona and Notre Dame? I'm not entirely sure. I don't fully expect it to be that bad, but all you need to do sometimes in these games is force that one pivotal mistake, two pivotal mistakes, and that can swing the game one way or the other. I would like UCLA. They need to start quick. They cannot get down 14-0 and expect to come back because they're not going to do that. That is not this team's MO to outscore teams and go with a comeback off it. That's just not been this team. They can't come back and outscore you. They've got to score first. They must chew up the clock and hope the rain comes down and that the finger paint gel comes off Caleb Williams' hands, has it slip the football out of his fingertips, and then he coughs it into Leatu Latu's hands, who runs for a touchdown, and that's a gift star. That would be a gift star. All jokes aside, I would like to think UCLA could run the ball. If they could protect their quarterback, they could probably get to a 30-point plateau that I'm not predicting them to get. And if they do that just enough, whether it's a Garbers or Moore, or dare I say if Schlee's even healthy enough to play in this game, which I'm not entirely sure at this moment, they can make enough plays to win this football game. Hopefully a little bit healthier than a week ago, much more invigorated than they were when they just crapped the bed, literally, against Arizona State at home. And here they are with an opportunity to give us a much better taste of this season heading into the bowl season, heading into the Cal regular season finale, where that itself will be a pomp and circumstance because it's the last time they play Cal, probably for a while. But you still want to smack SC. So go do it. No more excuses. This team is capable. The defense is capable of having a great performance and completely shutting down Williams. The probability of making him 100 yards, 3 interceptions, not likely, but enough to win this game for UCLA. UCLA showed enough running the football at times that they can run it and beat the opposition with a defense as terrible as SC's. Now, they're dynamic on one side, and so are the Bruins. Strength versus strength, weakness versus weakness. Which rears its ugly head and which dominates on its way to victory, unless it's just back and forth. I think it's close. And is it a made field goal, or is it just a missed extra point from UCLA that makes it 27-24? I don't know. We're going to find out. I'm a little crazy. I don't really know what's going to happen. It's just absolute nuttiness. But I do know we're going to react after the game. We're going to get to it. We're going to get excited, or we're going to be very sad. Either way, it's Go Bruins. Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer signing off. And hey, get your hands up, UCLA fans. 8 clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA. Beat SC. Suck it, Mark. Let's go, Bruins. Zach signing off. This has been Locked On UCLA. Beat SC. Go Bruins.